Good morning. It is August 23rd as I'm recording, Saturday, and I'm starting something that I've dreamed about for years. I'm doing it imperfectly on purpose with my notes. So my name is Brooke, and I care about podcasting and personal development because it has helped me so much on my journey and exposed me to things and books and resources that I didn't know existed without it, and has just helped me so much on my journey. And I guess I should start with saying this is the Emerging Path podcast. And I'm going to take you guys on this journey with me and this path. Corny, I know, but we're doing it, okay? And this show is genuinely just for anybody who wants to listen or who may be curious about my path or about personal development path or spirituality and woo stuff, which I'll get into in later episodes or maybe a little bit today. And I promise, and what so I'm reading my outline. We'll get smoother as things go, as the episodes progress, I promise. But the whole point of today is I needed to hit that record button, and not only that, I need to hit the post button. And it's also a new moon, and just like new beginnings, and so that's what we're doing. And my intention is to post 3 episodes a week this month. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So this is kind of like a bonus episode, just kind of setting the stage, I guess. And just kind of seeing where this path unfolds. And my origin story, I guess, would be I've kind of always envisioned myself as an entrepreneur, but I never really knew what that looked like. And I wasn't really exposed to anything that I wanted to do myself. And it wasn't until a few years ago I found myself in the service industry for the past however many years, after doing all sorts of jobs. And my boss was like, "You are very entertaining." She loved listening to me talk to my tables, and I always kind of joked, they didn't know it yet, but they're showing up to the Brooke Todd show tonight. And I just genuinely have so much fun serving, but it's time, to hopefully move on from that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, of course. I'm just ready for a new chapter and to go after my dreams. And part of that is I love entertaining. I love connecting with people. I love talking about life. I love sharing funny stories and what I've learned and what I've gone through. And just, I guess, being relatable, and just sharing my humanness with people. And so my boss planted that seed in me back in the summer of 2023. And it's currently 2025, if you're listening to this in the future, which is kind of a crazy thing to think about. But I wasn't quite ready to start as much as I wanted to be ready. I needed to grow up. I needed to learn things about myself. I needed to get grounded. My good Lord, I need to ground myself and come back down to reality. I've just been kind of on this like wild roller coaster of life and this path through the country. of the United States. I grew up in the North Shore of Boston area until I was 21, found myself moving out to Colorado for school, and was out there for 5 years, and then went back home to the East Coast and was like, nope, just kidding. World is too big. I need to get back out there. And then I ended up in Salt Lake City for 2 years, and then back to Colorado for a summer, and then down to Austin, Texas for a year, and then to Arizona, Southeast Phoenix for a year. And it wasn't until I came out to Hawaii, Oahu to be specific, to my college roommate's wedding. She is from here, grew up here, and invited me out to her wedding. And I was in the thick of life and just lost and sad and just like all the feels, and came out here for 4 days in Waikiki and felt so alive. And that's where my path has brought me today. I'm coming up on my second, as they say, Aina-versary. So Aina is the word for land in Hawaiian. And it's been an incredible 2 years. I am beyond grateful to be here. This is the first time that I've lived in an apartment for more than a year since 2012. And I genuinely love my little corner of paradise. I have a great serving job where I can support myself and have fun, and live the lifestyle that I enjoy at the moment. And it's also giving me the space and the energy to start a creative project that hopefully soon will turn into my full-time job. And I'm speaking that into existence because I believe that words have power. It's kind of part of the abracadabra, speak as you wish, I believe is kind of the loose translation of that word. And I also believe in manifestation and the power of positive thinking and law of attraction and, scripting out your life. Like, it's kind of a full circle moment for me. I hope you can hear the birds in the background. That's like one of my favorite things about living here, is they just sing all day long. And so kind of like this full circle moment for me was when I came out here for my friend's wedding. I came out here alone, and I had the best 4 days of my life. And it's not just because it's some tropical island. It's because it like really genuinely spoke to me. Not to get too deep too quickly, but I felt so alive. I grew up on the ocean in Massachusetts and fell in love with the mountains in Colorado and Utah and Arizona, and fell in love with the sunshine in Texas and Arizona. And my first day here, I still remember walking out to this local beach, and there's 3 public volleyball courts, and there were what seemed like hundreds of people playing volleyball. I mean, it wasn't really 100. I mean, maybe, I don't know. It seemed like a lot. And the beaches were just full, and I walked out and was floating in the ocean, looking up at Diamond Head, and just was like, wow, I can't believe this place exists. And never, ever in a million years did I think this small town girl from a town of about 20,000 people, so I guess small city, depending on your definition, because I know there are towns out there that are like 1,000 or 200 or whatever. Anywho, and I just felt alive. Like, Hawaii is everything that I love about life. The weather is absolutely incredible here. I love to be outside all year round. I love the mountains. I love the ocean. I love the culture and learning about the culture. I love that, especially in Waikiki, which I feel like people either love it or hate it here. Doesn't really seem to be much in between. But for me, in the season of life that I'm in, I love it so much because the whole world comes here. And I love meeting people. I love hearing people's stories. I love hearing how there's different ways of doing life. And that's like one of the coolest parts about my job is I'm literally meeting people from all over the world every single night I go into work, and getting to interact with them and getting to share the Aloha spirit with them, which I hope you get to come here someday and experience that for yourself, because it's going to make me emotional, but it's so magical. And I'm just like truly grateful to be a part of this community and to have found an ohana here, being as far away from home as I possibly could without leaving the United States. It's been so heartwarming, and it's something that I was journaling about before I moved here. So I guess kind of talking about how I moved here was I came out here for those 4 days, like I said, for my friend's wedding, and it just lit my soul on fire. And I was just like, and it was funny because every server I had that weekend was like, you should move here. And I'm like, don't say that. I'm crazy enough to do it. And at that point in my life, I was just so tired from moving. I had moved every single year, whether it be from apartment to apartment, house to house, or big moves to state, and just kind of like figuring out my path, I guess. And then I went out to dinner with my friend and her new husband the night before I left. And I was talking to her, and I was just like, dude, I feel like I'm going to move here. And I didn't know when, and I didn't know how. And I was walking the beach, I guess circle back a little bit, my third day here, and had just gotten an acai bowl and was just kind of hanging out at the beach. And I'm like very much a tom girl or tomboy, and I love sports and like activities. Don't let the skirt fool you. But these guys were setting up this thing called beach tennis, and they needed another player, and they asked me if I wanted to play, and I was like, heck yes, I am here for it. And one of the guys was like, so when are you going to move here? And I was like, no. And then he was like, when's your lease up? And at this point, it was mid-June, and my lease was ending November. And he was like, what about your car? And I was like, actually, I leased that too, and that's up in December. And then I was kind of talking about this with my friend, and I was like, dude, I think I'm going to move to Hawaii. And I was kind of like putting it way off in the distance, like years, like I need to figure out my finances. I need to figure out a job situation. Like, I don't want to be a server anymore. Like, blah, like just excuse, right? Which, you know, that's kind of the human side of things. And on my flight home, and then that weekend, I just kept journaling about what it would like to live here and how it would feel. And I took myself out to breakfast the morning before my flight back to Arizona, and I was talking to this couple, and I was just like, they're like, what are you writing about? And I was like, oh, I'm just, deciding if I should move here or not. And the husband was just like, oh, I'd do it in a heartbeat if I could. And then on my flight back to Arizona, we ended up having to make a medical emergency landing in LA, which thankfully we were very close. And it was pretty scary. And as far as I know, the person was okay, but yeah, I was just like sitting there crying. As you can see, I'm a very emotional person. And I was talking to this older couple, and the gentleman next to me had served in the military and used to be an EMT. And he was like, yeah, it's pretty scary, but that's why you have to live life, and that's why you have to do what you want to do, because you just never know what could happen. And that was the moment that I decided I was going to move here. And I went back. The next morning, I just started looking up apartments and rooms for rent, and was like, I can do this. I can do this. I can move to Hawaii. And went back to work, and my boss was like, how was your trip? And I was like, it's so good, I'm going to move there. And he was like, you're not joking, are you? And I was like, no, I'm dead ass. Like, this is my 4-month notice. So I had 4 months to figure it out. And to be honest, I was scared. I was excited. I went through all the emotions and didn't tell my family until 2 weeks before I was moving out here, because I was beginning to feel a little self-conscious about all of my moves, because you get a lot of mixed reactions. Or I got a lot of mixed reactions. Some people thought it was crazy, asking me what I was running from. And some people thought it was cool and that I lived an exciting life, which I do. But I was also really tired, and I was resisting the move, but I knew it was something that I needed to do, and that my soul was like yearning to be here, if that makes any sense. And now, after learning about some of the history and the culture and the legends, Madame Pele, the volcano goddess, it is said to believe that she will suck you in and pull you to the islands if you're meant to be here. And for whatever reason, I'm supposed to be here. I don't know for how long. I don't know if it's forever. But while I'm here, I'm going to do my best to honor the culture and just be a part of the Aloha spirit and be a part of the Ohana here, and enjoy my time here and relish in it, because it is a supremely magical and spiritual place to be. And to be blessed enough to call this my home right now it's not lost on me. Let's just say that. So yeah, that's kind of like my origin story. And I guess kind of to share like a little failure, like when I moved here, I planned to record my first episode, which was almost 2 years ago. And I got scared and I wasn't ready. Like, I was physically on island, but I wasn't emotionally here yet. It takes time to get here. This place, yes, it's a part of America, but it's very much its own entity. Maybe not governmentally or however the systems work or whatever they're called, but we're our own thing out here. And you don't really understand it until you live it, until you experience it. And I kind of needed to get the energy of the mainland off of me. I needed to calm my nervous system. I needed to relax and like chill and get on island time and acclimate and immerse myself in the community and be a part of the community. And one of the things I would do is I would make my coffee in the morning and go for a walk at this local beach park nearly every single morning for months when I first moved here. And I quickly was adopted by lots of aunties and uncles out here, which is part of, I guess, I don't know if the roots are Asian culture, and there obviously is a lot of Asians here. And it's a sign of respect to call your elders your auntie and uncle. And there's this one uncle, Uncle Larry, at the beach park, which I need to go see him because it's been a long time. He recognized that I was new and knew that he didn't know my face. And every person that walks by him, as he's sitting with the other uncles and aunties, and they talk story, and he would just say, "Good morning, good morning." And then eventually he was like, "All right, what's your name? You're new. Where are you from? What do you like? Do you need help? Like, what's going on?" And just welcomed me into the community. And I would sit and talk story with them in the mornings and just kind of hear about their life. And they would kind of give me tips and pointers on where to shop, or like $5 Fridays at Safeway, or getting the Costco membership, Sam's Club membership, all that type of stuff. Going to Chinatown to get my fruits. Like, they were a serious wealth of information for me and very, very helpful. And that was kind of my first introduction. And they ended up barbecuing for me on my birthday, my first birthday here. And he took me out to breakfast to this famous pancake place, and just really took me under their wing. And they have a holiday party potluck where they barbecue. And it was just so cool to be welcomed like that. And to experience the Aloha spirit firsthand. And it was like a genuinely heartwarming experience. And I'm so grateful for it. And, and so I guess back to the podcasting thing is I ended up recording a podcast and posting it under a different name, and wasn't grounded. I feel like I kind of trauma dumped, and I felt embarrassed because I was sharing a lot of feelings on the internet for a lot of people to see and judge, and I feel like I wasn't ready. I wasn't. And as much as I wanted to be, I wasn't there yet. And I guess I needed to have patience with myself and kind of ease into it, because you only get to make one first impression, and I wanted it to be authentic and to be me, like with my curls out and my Rapunzel. She's she's quite large, quite long. I love her, and to be grounded and centered and happy with the life that I'm living. I'm so happy, and I have my moments where I get frustrated, of course, but overall I'm very happy with the life that I'm living, but I'm also eager for more, and I'm excited for this next chapter and to see where this path is going to emerge, and what wonderful humans I get to connect with, and what sponsorships I'll get to be blessed with, or companies I'll get to work with. That's all very exciting to me, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds. And so that was kind of, I guess, a failure. And right now is just that bold action that I'm taking of hitting record, and most importantly hitting upload and posting this, and not just sitting on it, because it's time. It's time that I stop dreaming about it and actually do it. And with this new moon, I'm kind of, it just feels like the stars have aligned for me. And working with the moon cycles and learning about the moon cycles, and how important the moon cycles are here, to like the Tahitian legends. Like there's this place called the Stones of Life. Forgive me, I forget how to say it in Hawaiian, but it's a super sacred spiritual spot. And when I learned about it, the Tahitian gods came here on the new moon and instilled all their healing powers, their Reiki, the powers into the people, into the land, and into the water, and left on the full moon, and left behind these sacred stones, and as totems, and instilled their power into them. And like a lot of things, they got literally buried, and were underneath a bowling alley, I believe, and they were resurrected. I don't know if that's the right word, but they were unearthed and are now protected in Waikiki. They're near Duke statue, if you're curious. And it was interesting to learn about that because I came here on the full moon for my friend's wedding. And I moved here on the full moon. And my birthday was on a full moon eclipse, my first birthday here. And it's like, okay, there's all these signs, and I believe in signs and synchronicities and all that type of stuff. Excuse me. And I hadn't cut my hair in 2 years since before I moved here. And I finally got a haircut yesterday, actually. And learning about how that's like a way of like shedding old energy and just kind of releasing old things that no longer serve you. And I was like, okay, I'm going to record my podcast after that with the new moon. And I'm getting on the path and starting the path, and I'm going to see where this path emerges. Excuse me. Yeah, so let's see what else I have for my little notes and outline. I also set myself up for success this morning. I had a great night's sleep. I woke up, did a little EFT tapping, emotional freedom technique. I'm part of this amazing community called Dream Away, led by Haley Hoffman Smith. Highly recommend her. I've been tapping for the past almost year, I believe, and I love it. And it has helped me so much. And I've done a lot of tapping on starting the podcast. And the fear of being seen was a big fear of mine. And putting myself out there and being vulnerable, because it can be scary with the internet these days. But that's not what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to focus on who I can help, who I can inspire, who I can connect with, what amazing company I'll get to work with in the future, and share just life stories. Yeah, so that's what I'm focusing on. So I did some EFT tapping this morning, and then I made my coffee, went for a walk at the beach, and there's some stuff going on in Waikiki this weekend. It looks like a Wounded Warrior thing. I'm not exactly sure. I just saw that I was there for the opening ceremony. And the canoes are out, and I'm sure there's going to be some sort of swim and paddling and all sorts of cool stuff going on, and just kind of getting out into the community. And it's still nostalgic, walking the beach for me. It hasn't gotten old, and I hope it never gets old. And it's funny because as I'm saying that, I'm remembering a moment 2 winters ago. I was up really early before the sun and jumped on my moped and went up to Diamond Head Beach Park, and the moon was it was, again, here we go with the moon, and the moon was massive, and she was just like behind the lighthouse, and I was like, I just stopped to like take a picture, and this local uncle was going to surf, and he was like, yeah, it's pretty cool, huh? And I was like, man, I hope it never gets old. And he's like, I've lived here my whole life and I've never gotten sick of it. And I hope I never lose that. I hope I never lose that childlike wonder of the world, of living here, of experiencing life, because life is magical. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, but it's also like super fucking beautiful, and there are a lot of humans that want to do good and want to be good and want to see the world in a beautiful place. And that's, again, focusing on that, and it was just super cool. So I guess, sorry, kind of like talking in circles, but whatever. We'll get smoother as we go on. And so, anywho, I set myself up for success. I went for that walk this morning, kind of get the endorphins going, put myself in the way of beauty. That is one of my favorite quotes from a book called Wild by Cheryl Strayed. Her mother used to say that, is there's a sunrise and a sunset every day, and it's your choice to be there. You can choose to put yourself in the way of beauty. And I guess that's a little call to action to you, is what beautiful thing can you put yourself out into? What can you experience? Whether it's going for a walk in your neighborhood, getting a plant for your home, or a beautiful candle, or making a beautiful cup of coffee, or making some beautiful food, or having a beautiful conversation with a friend or a family member. And I also smudged my apartment. I smudged myself. I smudged my space. I used sage infused with dragon's blood for that added extra protection. And then I used some Palo Santo to call in some positive energy and to kind of help connect to my heart and connect to you guys, to whoever this message reaches. I've got my crystals. I've got my rose quartz. I've got my little lucky, I forget what this is called, but it's like a sign that the money is coming. I've got candles going, and I just feel nice and cozy. And I wear clothes that I feel good in. I've got my hair down, my curls out. So I guess to kind of, which we'll wrap this up here with a card pulling. And this is from a deck called Mana Cards, The Power of Hawaiian Wisdom, because I feel like it's only appropriate that I share the wisdom and share the teachings of this beautiful place that I get to call home, and kind of let the legends live on. So this is the book. I think it's backwards for you guys. Sorry, because I'm recording on my front-facing camera, which is probably obnoxious to all the technology people out there. But, we're just going for it today. So let me pull a card and see what wants to come out. So this is the card that pulled out, Pu'io. I'm also still learning how to speak Hawaiian and read Hawaiian. So please forgive me and gently educate me on how to say these words, okay? Because I'm genuinely just doing this with love, not trying to act like I know it all, because I definitely freaking don't. All right. So It says, and there's a Hawaiian chant that goes with every card. I'm not going to attempt to read it, but I will read the English version because I'm not trying to make a a mockery of myself. Yeah. So it is yours, the mana. The brush aside darkness, brush aside death, brush aside trouble. The teaching. And I'll see, this is where I'm struggling to read it. Aumakua, I believe, is a personal or family akua, ancestral god. Pu'io, owls, are among the oldest of the Aumaku. Other well-known Aumaku includes sharks, lizards, rats, and various types of birds and fish. Their kino lau, their forms, may be animal, rock, or plant. Aumakua act as guardian spirits for individuals and families. They are often identified as particular ancestors and individually named. That is why people refrain from eating any kino lau of their Aumakua. This includes all members of a species to which a particular Aumakua belongs, for they may also be one's relatives. Aumakua are especially revered for protecting individuals and families in times of danger. There are many stories of the Aumakua protecting people by deflecting weapons and providing guidance to someone who is lost. Therefore, they are often called upon during times of trouble or illness. Aumakua also appear at important times of transition. Their appearance may indicate approval or provide a warning. Aumakua are treated with respect and asked advice. As with any family member, it is possible to offend an Aumakua by overlooking obligations or harming another member of the species. If this happens, it is important that deceased ancestors are immediately contacted to act as intermediaries to restore the relationship. Usually, fallouts with Aumakua are not irrevocable. Family, after all, is family. Aumakua may also bring mana. Mana is a supernatural power that manifests in talent and ability. This talent and ability may be a mental or physical characteristic of strength. If a person receives a gift of mana from a Aumakua that manifests in a talent or ability, it is important that it be developed, or the Aumakua may be offended and take the gift away. Interpretation. Aumakua are ancestral gods that appear in living or rock forms. The term also refers to the higher self. Messages from Aumakua can come in a voice, a vision, a dream, or a sign. Appearances are fleeting and sudden and may indicate approval, a sign that one is on the right track. When Aumakua lingers, it may be attempting to warn you of danger, to turn back, or to take a different route. It is important to closely observe and become familiar with your Aumakua so as to be able to interpret the meaning of its message. Hawaiians have the many stories about Aumakua in the form of Pu'io, the owl. The theme which underlines all of them is rescue. Pu'io often indicates that one is in danger, that one should turn back, should take a safe route instead of a more treacherous one, or should go wherever the help lies. Therefore, Pu'io may appear to tell you to seek an alternate route or guidance. Pu'io may also appear to warn you that if you have been overlooking your obligation to develop your special talent or ability, you may be in danger of losing it. If you've been putting off seeking the wisdom or the guidance of a teacher or healer, now is the time to stop doing so. I feel like that's kind of like the perfect message, because it was talking about the path, right? And this is the emerging path. And this is something that I've been putting off doing and believe was at risk of losing if I didn't take the jump and the leap to finally do it. So my call to action to you out there is, what's a gift that you've been sleeping on, or that you've been too scared or shy to put out into the world? Because this world, again, needs more beauty and more love and connection and creation. And, you know, that's what we're here to do, is to create. And how can you help create a beautiful life, not only for yourself, but for your friends, your family, your neighbors, your community, your country, your world? Because at the end of the day, this world is our home. And yeah, so this is me doing my part, and the next part is to hit stop recording and then to upload, and not just hit upload once, but to keep uploading and to keep posting and to keep developing this gift that I have. Because I've joked with my tables that my parents definitely gave me the right name, because my name is Brooke, and I definitely babble like a brook and have the gift of the gab. So yeah, with that, aloha, mahalo, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here if you've made it this far. And feel free to reach out. Send me a message if you happen to see a clip on Instagram or wherever I end up posting this. I for sure will be posting this on YouTube to start. So please subscribe and leave a comment. I love interacting, and I want to hear what you're going to commit to doing, or what your dreams are, or what your takeaway was from this podcast. And please share this with somebody that you think would enjoy it or may get a message out of this. So with that, love you guys. Thank you.